Hello and welcome back to Season 6, Episode 4 of Real Talk. I'm your host, Kelsey Stone, here with Erin, Meghan, and JP. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys. And speaking of things making a grand return, we have to talk about the new Hunger Games book, Sunrise on the Reaping. I've heard it's not the way people remember it, but apparently Suzanne Collins did a great job of making it politically relevant. So guys.
Okay, so I grew up as the traditional Hunger Games girl. Like when I was in high school, like in 6th grade, you had to read it. And then I became that person who was obsessed with it and had Pinterest and like went on Tumblr, and Hunger Games consumed my whole life. So when the new book came out, me and my friend, we went to the midnight release of it at the Barnes & Noble here. And I pre-ordered it so early, and then I got it at midnight, and my mom texted me the next day. She's like, oh, did you know a new Hunger Game book came out? And I'm like, Mom, I'm halfway through it.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm the person who'll stay up until like 3 in the morning reading. So it's so good. Okay, so we'll start with like the background of it. So like, you guys have read the first Hunger Games, right?
Yes.
At least the
I
first
actually
one.
read them all over the summer because
Yes!
they got spoiled for me in middle school, and I was like, I'm not reading this now because
right?
they spoiled a huge thing. And then I picked it up over the summer, which did lead to like a crisis coming the next, like in the fall because of what was happening in the world. But like,
Fair.
it was so good and I loved it.
Yeah, in like 4th grade, I think.
That's young to read the Hunger Games. Damn.
I knew someone.
In 4th grade, my friends and I had like competitions to see who could read all 3 the fastest. Throwback to when I was a nerd, I guess. But like
Me now.
no,
Like,
I'm kidding. No, I've read them, but I haven't read them in a while. So it's like I know things, but it's like it might be a little bit like, oh, right, all right, sure,
okay, well,
take it away.
love it. Okay, so this new book called Sunrise on the Reaping talks about Hamish, and he was basically, depending on like where you start in the series, like if you've read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, then he's not. But if you haven't, then he's technically the first like relevant victor of District 12, which is where like Katniss and Peeta come from. So it's his story of when he was reaped on his 16th birthday, I believe. But yeah, every year the reapings are on his birthday, so I think that's like kind of cool. And it tells a little bit about his story. But like when you open the book, I kid you not, Suzanne Collins has like this theory where it's like she only writes when she has something she wants to say. You open the page and it is 4 quotes about propaganda in the media.
Ooh.
And I'm like, one of them is from George Orwell, and I've like looked at the book, I'm like, this is gonna eat.
Oh.
Like, this is gonna eat. Like throughout the book, I think she makes so many like great parallels of the Capitol basically showing what they want you to see in the games. And then you get that side, and then you also get Hamish's side of what actually happens in the games. And then like not personally, like she's basically making that tie of like Fox News shows you what they want to see, and MSNBC shows you what they want you to see.
Yes.
So it's like, if you read it now, it is the best book ever, and it beautifully connects to everything that is like in Catching Fire too.
Oh my gosh, okay.
It beautifully connects. And I think it's like so funny because I saw like a TikTok and it was like James Charles, and it was him like, oh my God, somebody help me find like the new Sunrise on the Reaping book. And someone commented, they're like, this is capital behavior right here. So like, what does that say about us who are so excited to run and go read this book about murder?
I mean, it's true. It's like we are like obsessed with like true crime and all those kind of things, like true crime,
Violence.
like shows, like Criminal Minds and things. Everything like has been very popular. That's like all these shows have had tons and tons of seasons.
Yeah.
And because you have art reflects the real world, and that's like she does this so well. Like she uses her voice in this like fictional world to really tell stories that connect to our real world and make people consider things differently in our real world. And it's so amazing that like books and like storytelling can have that power over people.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's ultimately the point of art. It's to reflect what is happening in the real world. And I think, Hunger Games, I never really thought about it growing up, but now, it's very, very impressive that you see that connection and it's having that impact on readers and people all over, really. So
I think it's basically just showing that like, we're the Capitol, essentially. We're running to get this book, and we want to read all about it. And it's essentially like the rich and famous are buying the book while actual people are like suffering. And I think that's like a big reason she like started writing the series. And I don't think a lot of people got it. At least I didn't get it until she came out with the new book. And she basically was like, okay, I wrote 3 books and you still didn't get it. Let me write the 4th one.
Yeah.
yeah, and
I think.
go ahead.
I mean, my parents and I have been saying for a while that like with everything going on in the world, like it would make a really great like book or movie. like, it would be so fun and, like, interesting to, like, read about if it wasn't real life. And I think that's kind of the draw to these genres. Kind of like, at first it's like, oh, I'm reading about something that's like, makes me feel better about my situation because they have it way worse off. But like now it's becoming like, oh,
This is us now.
we're getting closer to that, aren't we? And that's scary.
But in a way, it kind of almost empowers you a little bit because you see these people that are fighting against it. So maybe it inspires somebody to like pull a Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah, you can really hope.
Yeah,
And,
maybe
like,
I'll get an archery.
I gotta learn now.
guys, I'm gonna like out myself right now. I took archery after reading the series.
So wait,
You're so real for that, though.
I took archery for a solid year. And then I stopped because I'm cool and I wanted to do theater.
Of course.
So one cool hobby for another.
For sure. For sure.
But I was fully immersing myself in those books.
Yeah.
I literally went in and I started my lessons. They're like, "Are you here because of Hunger Games?" And I was like, "Wow, like, thanks. I'm gonna leave now. Thanks, guys."
And I think that says so much about like the level of influence that something has on society because like no one like realistically, how old were you?
Oh God. Maybe 13.
Yeah, like
14?
no like 13-year-old is just gonna pop up one day and be like, you know what I want to get into? Archery.
No one's gonna do that. It was
Yeah.
me and a bunch of high school dudes. Like, no one does that. It's people who wanted to learn how to do it so they go hunting. And then it was me, like, I read a book.
This strong
you any
female
good?
protagonist, and like
What?
I want to be like her.
Were you good though?
I wasn't horrible.
Okay.
We'll take
Okay.
it.
I got a bullseye once, so that was my crowning.
Period.
That was my
That's awesome.
crowning achievement.
I know.
There we go.
I took archery at camp for like I don't know a week, but they didn't have the little like
Oh yeah.
little guard things, so I kept getting smacked with the fucking.
I still got smacked with the guard thing, and I don't know, something funky with my elbow, but they're like, you have to take it, and you have to go like this. And I was like, oh, okay, because my arm was weird.
I mean, I'm pretty fire at Wii archery, but that's like the extent
well,
of
that's
it.
the top. If you get good at Wii archery, you're
You
good.
can do anything
It
else.
counts.
Yeah, you can totally, shoot it across like a volcano and everything like that.
No
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like going back to like when I started
Yeah.
at like 14, I think that I also saw like pictures on Instagram where it was basically like, this is what Josh Hutcherson and Katniss Everdeen actually looked like at 16, and like this was the image that Suzanne Collins was trying to like make because they looked like children.
And then with like the graphic novel, like where they or it wasn't
Oh,
a graphic
yes,
novel, but
I
like
know
they had the
exactly what
art,
you mean.
and it's like
Yes.
disturbing.
And like they made the new like picture book of the
babies
Hunger
they look.
Games, and they're like children, and like that's the point.
Like what's his name, Thrash?
Yeah.
Like, the way that they describe him as like this huge guy, and he's like, you can see he's just a kid too. Like,
Right?
it really like it brings so much attention to like how cruel it is.
And I think like the movies like obviously painted over that because they're not gonna get a 16-year-old to play the part.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna
Yeah.
get in their 20s. And like Josh Hutcherson and like Jennifer Lawrence did a great job, but like it completely took out like the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
fact
think they
that they're
needed
so
to have
young,
younger actors. Like,
They did,
to
and,
really
like-
drive it.
like
home.
represents the child labor and everything.
Oh yeah, that's
Society.
another good point.
Yeah.
No.
And I really hope for like the new Sunrise on the Reaping movie, they actually like do it justice and get good actors. Like I see all these like spoilers for like this is who's currently in talks. Who was it? Like Kieran McCulkin is currently in talks for Caesar Flickerman,
Oh, I remember hearing that. Yes,
Interesting.
yes.
which like I don't hate.
I saw the vision.
Elle Fanning is currently in talks for Effie.
Makes sense.
I
Like,
don't-
I can see it.
I don't know the Haymitch actor personally. I can't
I
remember
don't
his
think they
name.
have one yet. Do
They had-
They had one.
One
they?
guy, I can't think of what his name
He was
though,
rumored.
'cause
It's
I've
someone I
never heard of
hadn't
him
like
before.
seen before. But I don't know. I really hope they do it justice because
Yeah.
like 12-year-old me, if I get to the theaters and it's shit, I'm gonna cry. Like that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah, no, that's so fair, but this conversation really got me wanting to reread the whole series. Maybe I'll start after the semester dies down. Even though the Hunger Games takes place in a futuristic setting, let's go back in time to this day in history. In 1790, Benjamin Franklin died. In 1933, the Chicago Bears won their first NFL game, beating the New York Giants 23-21. In 1947, Jackie Robinson bunted his first major league hit. In 1970, the Apollo 13 returned to Earth. And finally, the 33rd Academy Awards happened in 1961, where Apartment won Best Film and Burt Lancaster and Elizabeth Taylor won Best Actor and Actress. On the topic of movies and actors, there's been a lot of controversy with remakes lately, especially with new live versions of films like Snow White. Do you guys have any input, Mr. Movie Man?
No, so you all know about Snow White, and I think
Disney
everyone
movie.
said something about Snow White already, but just concentrating on live action remakes in general, I don't really see a point. Like, I understand, and I will say this is something I don't think I see a lot of people say, with Disney live action remakes specifically. Let's point out that those Disney animated cartoons are also technically retellings of the original Brother
This is
Grimm
true.
stories.
This is
So
true.
I'm kind of okay with the live action remake part. What I'm not okay with is there's just no interesting twist. There's the same thing over and over again, and I saw that with the How to Train Your Dragon films that are coming out soon.
Yeah.
And it really, really upset me that How to
like
Train Your
Frankie
Dragon
Frankie.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
In my opinion, I feel like for the most part, it's like these big companies want like a quick like cash grab.
Yes.
So they just remake the same shit over and over, no original shit, just rinse and repeat, same movie, redo it, recast it just for a quick buck.
Yeah.
I will say, like, the remakes lately have been, like, more diversified. Whether that's for, like, representation is, like, that could be argued. But, like, the Little Mermaid remake,
Yeah.
obviously she was black, so that got a lot of backlash. But that is, I don't want to say that's a twist we didn't see coming, but,
Yeah.
like, that is, like,
It's
a different, more modernized, even though it shouldn't be, like, modern, like, like, they are doing different things. But at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. Like, just come up with new ideas.
Come up with new ideas. Like, I love that, like, we have, like, a Latina princess now. Like, that's amazing. That's what I always wanted growing up. Why don't we make a new Latina princess? What if we have something like, because I do like Rachel Zegler. I think she's very talented, but I think the songs didn't fit Snow White's story. They didn't fit the Snow White voice. Why don't we put her in a new movie that she can like sing like that and belt and be amazing and have a totally new story that has like some of the progressive things that she was talking about in interviews and everything.
Yeah.
you know,
And did you want to give some of the backstory on the movie, Mr.
on
Movie
the
Man?
Snow White? Oh no, I'll do that real quick after something. But I wanted to say, when it comes to like adding these like diverse characters into these already pre-existing properties, I feel like what you just said right there, like let's create these new characters. Because if anything, I feel like it damages any work that's trying to be done to push more diversity in Hollywood. Because let's be honest here, if a movie bombs, like Snow White didn't even cross 200 million worldwide, it needed to hit almost 700 million to break even. Who are they going to blame? Are they going to blame the quality of the movie, or are they going to blame Rachel Zegler? Right? It just does damage to people of color. It does damage to a woman. It does damage these unrepresented groups. I think it's better to take a risk with a new brand and try to like make these better stories for these people to be represented in. But you want to cover the background, actually.
Just for anyone who isn't really, aware of Snow White, which if you're not, are you alive? But in 2022, Peter Dinklage made comments about Disney pursuing the backward story about 7 dwarves living in a cave together and the ableist portrayal of the dwarves in this film. To resolve this, Disney released a statement stating that they would consult with members of the dwarfism community to take a different approach. It was later reported that the 7 dwarves would instead appear as a nondescript group of magical characters. But in the end, they ultimately ended up animating the 7 dwarves. So this is just an example of, in movies, you're saying something?
Continue.
All right.
I'll say after.
It's also like in shows like neurotypical, or right?
Yeah.
Atypical?
Atypical. He's not actually autistic. He doesn't have autism, and like, granted, these, people with neurodivergency might not necessarily be in the position to act in these things, but I'm not sure that they even try to include them, and that's part of the problem with these representations in film and TV.
What I was gonna say regarding Snow White, because they animated the dwarves, one thing I don't like about remakes, like I think across the board, is like when it comes to like old movies into new movies, they'll replace like real / even practical effects with CGI. Most of the time, it's so fucking ass. Like, for
Tell
example,
them how you really feel.
yeah, I will. Hollywood. So, for example, if they were to remake the OG Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6, that was a majority of prop work and not a lot of CGI because it didn't exist a lot back then. It was mostly props and whatnot. I guarantee you if they remade it nowadays, for whatever reason, it'd all be CGI bullshit, which looks just not as good as practical effects. So I feel like every remake, whether it's The Lion King, Little Mermaid, Snow White, any goddamn fucking Disney title, it's always CGI bullshit and it's ass.
I agree with you on that. No, I really do. Like, I can feel the pain.
And I
You know.
fear the fish in The Little Mermaid. Like, I have not watched the new Little Mermaid because I'm scared of Flounder and Sebastian. They're so freaky
They
now.
shouldn't. They should not have looked
Look
like
at
that.
them.
And also like Stitch, like in like the Super Skull commercial as well. Like
Okay.
They're just his own thing.
Okay, but like, you have to admit, they did okay with him because they could have made him look hyper realistic.
this is true.
Like, you know, they dialed it
Yeah.
back.
But also kind of like talking about Lilo and Stitch, I think they're also having a bit of a controversy right now because there's some Native Hawaiian fans that are disappointed in the casting for Nani because she is a biracial actress, but she's not like has lighter skin, and Nani is like a darker skinned character with like more ethnic features, and that's very important to some people. Like she was one of the few like brown people I saw on screen when I was little, so like it's a big deal. So they're like. And it kind of brought attention to the whitewashing that happened like in Aladdin as well with Princess Jasmine, where they chose like a British actress with Indian ancestry, but like they're like, well, we could have chosen somebody to fit the role a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the How to Train Your Dragon remake, that is it out yet or is it coming out?
It's coming out in July.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about it, but I heard a girl named Astrid in the series. I think she's being casted by like a black woman, right?
Yeah.
And I heard rumblings online. People were upset because historically speaking, like Nordic women were like, I guess, pretty much Caucasian, I guess, from what I heard. And people were upset about that. I feel like a lot of times the remakes, people are upset with like not following the original source material, whether it be, I don't know, like race change or sex change or whatever. I feel like that's also one of the main issues people have, like fan bases have, towards remakes. That's kind of what makes people mad the most, is stuff like that. So.
No, and I mean, you brought up a good point. Look what happened with the Harry Potter remake. Do you know who they cast as Snape?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard, okay, I'm gonna be honest though, people are being a little bit, really freaking mean because some of those comments, they were like 10 times worse than anything I've ever seen before.
It's like
But
racially motivated, but like
Yeah.
for Snape
The remake was a
specifically-
joke.
no.
For Snape specifically, though, like it was an interesting choice
Yes.
for him to be the one black actor that they have
Yeah.
like announced.
Yeah.
Because that makes like it changed the intent of some of the other
changes,
characters. Like
yup.
it kind of makes a lot of the characters
Racial,
racist now.
yep.
Because he was horribly bullied, and he's the only black guy that
Yup.
we have.
Yep.
So it does kind of ruin the protagonist's father a little bit.
It kind of ruins
It was-
a lot of things.
It ruins a lot of things. It was definitely a choice. I feel like
Yes.
any other character, maybe not Draco, but like other characters. Hermione.
Ron.
He's going
My
to
friend's a big
sacrifice himself.
fan of like Harry being Puerto Rican. I don't know why she wants that so
I've
bad,
seen
but
it.
you know what? I support it.
Yeah.
I'll take
I
Puerto
mean,
Rican.
why
Harry.
No, I genuinely thought like, because I was seeing like, oh, if Harry Potter has a remake, this is who I think is gonna play and I thought it was just a joke. I didn't realize they were actually remaking
No,
it.
they are remaking it. It's gonna be
No,
an
it's-
HBO show,
yeah.
right?
I feel like all these castings are just like, they're like rage bait on purpose. They just want to see people like get fucking mad. 'Cause it gets them engagement for their projects they're working on.
You know,
Just my
I
theory.
mean, it's true.
it's who's to say, but I know I'm for sure excited to see more original films this year. But right now we have all this beautiful weather and I really just want to be outside. And with Earth Day being right around the corner on April 22nd, let's take a look at what Haley and I learned. Hey guys, it's Kelsey. And with Earth Day just 5 days away, I wanted to share a bit about what it's all about. Earth Day, celebrated every year on April 22nd, is a global movement focused on raising awareness about environmental issues and inspiring action to protect our planet. At its heart, it's about conservation, sustainability, and making choices that support a healthier Earth. Earth Day began in the US in 1970, sparked by growing concerns about pollution and environmental damage. Since then, it's grown into a worldwide event with millions of people getting involved. Earth Day matters as it reminds us to stay aware of issues like climate change, pollution, and deforestation, take action as individuals, communities, and nations, and embrace sustainable practices and protect natural resources. Common ways to get involved include planting trees, cleaning up parks or beaches, attending environmental events, and spreading awareness and educating others. In 2025, EarthDay.org is spotlighting Our Power, Our Planet, pushing for global unity around renewable energy and a goal to triple clean electricity generation by 2030. But here's the thing, it's not just about April 22nd. There's a growing gap between the symbolic support we show, especially online, and the real everyday actions that actually make a difference. Reposting a graphic or using a hashtag isn't enough if it stops there. It becomes performative activism, more about looking like we care than truly doing the work. Social media can spread the message, but real impact happens offline. So the real question is, how will you do your part this Earth Day and beyond? Now, I know with the state of our world right now, it can be very anxiety-inducing hearing all of these scary things surrounding Earth and Earth Day, and it can make you feel helpless. So here at Real Talk today, we're bringing on one of our own, Yode Famadou, for a little therapy session.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I would just like to know that I'm not a licensed therapist, so
Really?
yeah, really.
Really?
I know it's surprising since I give such good advice, but I'm not a licensed therapist.
I need some advice, honestly.
What's up?
So, I feel like universally every man has the same fear in life.
Oh, God. What?
And I had a dream about this recently, actually.
Oh.
And it really struck a chord in my body. I was kind of scared.
Was it your G?
I'm afraid of being a young dad.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, okay. I did not know where you were going with
Yeah.
that.
Being a young teen dad or a young adult dad is scary.
Teen, you're 20.
Anyways. But if there's teens out there, they're afraid. I know they're afraid.
No, I feel you
Yeah.
because my sister's a nurse, right?
Yeah.
And she's telling me all these stories about these young dads
I
and
thought you
moms.
said your sister's a nerd.
Nurse. No, nurse. So she's telling me all these stories, but the one thing you have to understand is every time, just wrap that shit up.
Yeah. Be safe and use a rubber.
Yes. Or make sure she's on birth control. Actually,
Yeah.
no, because you never know with girls. So you always have to
What's
make
that
sure.
supposed to mean?
It means like a girl can tell you she's on birth control and then she's not.
Okay,
That's-
well, a guy could say he pulled out and then he didn't.
Exactly.
Okay, how about we
so that's why we all
all
have
just
to
be
safe.
responsible?
That will all be resolved. If the man wears a rubber.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay.
It's on him to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for it's for
Wait.
the stick.
Cap, because actually
What?
in Trabant a couple days ago, Planned Parenthood gave me free condoms. So you don't
So
got
you still got the condoms.
Yes.
And you're still a guy.
Yes.
So
Yeah, but I'm just saying you don't gotta pay for condoms all the time. You can
Well,
always
I know that.
You can
I'm
get it for
saying,
free.
like,
Just
Yeah. You
have
can-
them.
Yeah, you can ease your mind for free by getting free rubbers.
just wrap it up.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should be stocked just in case. But if you are the one who's doing the dicking down, you
Get
gotta
down. That's.
you gotta bring them.
I mean, like if you're going for a sneaky link, you definitely should bring your own because you don't know what kind of type shit. She could be like putting holes in that shit. You don't know. You
What do you
don't
think?
know.
She's a voodoo doll with a pin? What are you?
No, I'm telling you, I've seen that
He
before.
could be doing it too.
I,
Like that's actually like a huge thing. It's a
guy-
huge thing in like IPV.
I've never seen a guy ever intentionally try to get a
That's
girlfriend.
fucked.
Well, and like you know what?
Yeah, I feel relieved a lot more now, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm great.
I'm so glad you're not worried about being a young father now.
Just wrap that shit up.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about coming to college, being in a relationship?
Being in a relationship, it depends. Are you going into like you both are going to the same school or are you going to different schools?
Yeah,
'Cause-
Either one, I guess.
Either one. Well, if you're going to the same school, like that's your business. But like if you're going to different schools, like what are you doing? What are you doing?
Type shit.
Like
You
I'm
think
not saying
love conquers all.
love only is like one part of what makes a relationship work. Trust, loyalty, respect.
You want to say that to the camera?
Oh yes. Trust, loyalty, respect. These all make up a relationship. So do you trust this person who's 3 hours away? That he's gonna respect you? He's gonna be loyal to you? Like,
Preach.
yeah.
Preach.
So like, if you trust them, that's fine. But like, honestly, if you're going,
And how do you build that trust?
how do you build that trust? You just build that trust. Like,
Wow. Thank you so much.
I can't tell you how to build trust with your partner because I'm not your partner.
Well,
How do you not get sick? You just don't get sick.
Well, I feel like if you date someone, you already know to trust them. That's why you're together in the first place. But then again, there are cheaters.
Why did you just look at me for that?
Kelsey,
It's not what it looks like. I'm just saying.
Is there something I don't know about myself?
No, how about this?
Is there
How
something
about
you
this?
wanna say?
There are cheaters, all right? We're all inclusive here, all right? There's cheaters out there, but I feel like, again, if you date from the get-go, you have that pre-assumed, like, sense of trust. But it gets broken, just saying.
I
No,
also
trust
feel
can be
like
broken like that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot that like the person that you date when you're like 19, 18 is the worst person you will ever date. I can attest to that personally.
Really?
Because
No
yes, it was
comment.
awful. But
No comment. We'll get back to you because I want to
it's a
comment.
phenomenon. You know?
Yeah. No?
That happens with people. But also I think sometimes it's just like you're growing. Everyone's growing in different ways. And
Yeah, because
do you
when you
really,
get to college, you really learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
No, and like a huge advice I got from like one of my friend's dads. He like had a girlfriend that was back home while he was at school, and he drove home every weekend to see her.
Exactly.
And he missed out on everything in college.
Exactly.
And he was miserable, and then they broke up. Like
Yeah.
so.
No, you
what's
shouldn't
the
have a
point?
girlfriend in college. Let's be honest.
For real.
Not in this day and age. There's no relationships are dead.
All
Marriage
right.
is gone.
Hey.
What? Marriage is gone?
Yes.
Oh. Oh.
Parents are
Okay,
divorced.
so
Woo.
I got a question for you.
All right. What's your question?
Do you have any like advice for like people that like overextend themselves with like clubs and different commitments and like just doing a little too much on top of academics?
If you feel like you're doing too much, then quit.
Okay, but
Sometimes it's not that easy.
sometimes
How
it's
is it not that easy?
Oh my God, brother.
Okay, sometimes you want to like have the experiences. You don't want to let people down. You got a lot to do.
Who cares about people? It's your life.
What if you want to do it though?
No. See, if you live up to people's expectations, you're never nothing good is gonna happen. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who's doing all this stuff. You're the one who's gonna be failing his classes. You're the one who's gonna be ending up in the streets when you what's it called? When you get out of school because you failed all your classes.
So you have like that me, myself, and I
Yes,
mindset.
yes.
So you're
What
a
if
lone wolf.
Me, myself,
I
and I
feel
wants to
that
do
it's
this.
okay to be a little selfish because you should definitely be putting yourself before everyone else.
Okay, but what if yourself wants to be involved in these other things?
Yeah, 'cause-
If you
How do you balance it?
how do you balance
Yeah,
it?
because personally, I have like 6 commitments and multiple jobs next semester. It's
You have
gonna
a
be a little
schedule?
crazy ass schedule.
You have a Google schedule?
Yes, I made it. Trust me.
Then-
But I want to do all these things. But how do you think that
Well,
go
you
about
chose
not
all that
dying while
stuff.
doing it?
You chose all that stuff, so like,
Live with the consequences
Yeah.
of my actions.
yeah. I mean, if it's too much, quit.
Once again, camera's right there.
Because I'm talking to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks, but like, I feel like I feel like I'm doing too a lot, and I know like I have to for like reasons. So next year I'm like quitting like 3 different things. So I told myself, Yode, do these things bring you joy? I said no. And so now I'm gone.
I mean, that's a great way to look at it.
Do you
Yeah.
have joy being up here right now with us?
Of course.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but you won't see me next year, so
Damn.
Well, I
I'll
won't
miss
miss
you dearly.
that's okay.
Well, I'll be here next year because I'll be a rising senior, and
What do you
I
mean you are a rising senior?
yeah, and I had to pick classes this morning, and it's so goddamn fucking stressful. So, in your experience of being in college, as we all have been in college, how do you go about the stress of picking classes, knowing that some might be taken, some might be full, waitlisted, blah blah blah? Like, how do you handle it?
Can you really control that? Like, you
No.
choose your classes.
It bothers me because like you either get put on early in the list to pick your shit or late, and if you're late, which is not up to you.
Listen.
I think you're coming at it a little too logistically.
I feel like we know why
Life.
you're not a licensed therapist.
Life is chaos. You only control about 25% of your life.
Real.
So what you just gotta hang on what you can get. Like, expect nothing, appreciate everything. That's what you need
That's
to
so
do.
deep, honestly.
Okay, I like that.
Expect nothing, appreciate everything.
Real talk.
That's how I live my life.
I commend that honestly. It's just I hate not having full control. You know.
I don't control anything. I go with the flow. I can't. The waves are just gonna come at me. I'm just gonna like breathe when I can.
You know, that's all the time we have for you guys tonight. Thanks for everyone who watched. Make sure to tune in on May 8th for our season 6 finale, where we say goodbye to our wonderful seniors. Until our next talk, keep it real out there.